I love what books can bring us. They open up the world to us, they take us into new places, and they are so good for teaching. Not just the storybooks that involve, mythical creatures, but I'm talking about ones that can really show and teach our children things that they need to grow and develop in. In the last video, I actually talked about how we can teach kindness and compassion. And one of those things was storybooks and read books. And so what I want to bring today are 10 great books that do teach kindness, empathy, and compassion. Hi, and welcome to Learning Life. And thank you so much for joining me today as we look at books that are going to teach us kindness, empathy, and compassion. There are so many wonderful books out there, and it can be hard sometimes to really narrow them down. And I will say, you might not agree with me on some of those recommendations, and that is totally okay. I always encourage, whether it's TV shows or movie or books, if you're not sure and you haven't read it first and see if it's right for your children and right for your family. These are some of my recommendations, and I know that there are many other wonderful ones that are out there. You know what? We're all learning together. We all think, oh, I need to learn about this. Let me go and find out some information. That's why I bring these videos, and talk about education and parenting and children's stuff. And so I do say, if you haven't seen any of them, why not check them out? If you didn't see the last video, check it out. And I want to say thank you for your likes and your subscribes and for your comments. So let's jump in to these recommendations. Wonder by R.J. Palacio. Look, maybe you have seen the movie of this, Wonder. It's a beautiful movie. I cried. So this is the story of Augie. He's a young boy and just his journey of dealing with a facial difference starting at 5th grade in a mainstream school after he's been homeschooled. And it's a beautiful story. It really teaches children about acceptance and empathy and especially the power of kindness. This one, maybe for a bit more for our older children, they could read it aloud with younger ones. Do it, read it, discuss it. And then you can watch the movie together. The Invisible Boy by Trudy Ludwig. So this book tells the story of Brian. He is a boy who often feels invisible and excluded by his classmates. I have a daughter that often feels that she's not heard by her friends, so this relates to her. And it's beautifully illustrating the importance of including and reaching out to others, that we have to be able to reach out. And it emphasizes that empathy and kindness. This is another great book. Each Kindness by Jacqueline Woodson. So this book explores the impact of those small acts of kindness. We talked about we can teach kindness and show them how to do it, these acts of kindness. And you know what? There can be regret that comes from missed opportunities to show compassion. And I love that it touches on that. So it's encouraging our children to choose kindness in their daily interactions so we maybe don't have that regret. Oh, I missed that opportunity to show compassion. Have You Filled a Bucket Today by Carol McLeod. This book is a great metaphor story. Here we have our bucket. And, we can be filling up our bucket, the words and the actions of others can either fill it or empty it. That bucket being our emotional well-being. And I love that. And kids can see that, it's a bucket. It's something visual that they can tap into. This book really emphasizes the importance of acts of kindness and of caring. You got your bucket. A Sick Day for Amos McGee by Philip C. Stead. This is the story, beautiful story of a zookeeper who always makes time to visit his animal friends, even when he's not feeling well. This is highlighting compassion. It's highlighting friendship. It really highlights the power of when we care for others. The Rabbit Listened by Corey Dorfeld. In this book, there's a young boy named Taylor. And he goes through a difficult experience. And various animals try to comfort him with their own advice. And I love that it's animals in this. This is also great for children that, again, that imagination can come through. And it's not just from people. The animals are giving advice. It's teaching the importance of empathy and listening to someone else's feelings without judgment. Because, we're going to be hearing things in our different ways. Can we do that without judgment? Those Shoes by Mary Beth Boltz. This is emphasizing like those themes of empathy and compassion through the story of a young boy who really wants a pair of popular shoes. And you've probably heard stories of that. Like, I've seen videos and kids just like, I need to have these shoes. I want to have these shoes. And, trying to put everything like there so that they can get. But he learns the value of putting others' needs before his own. And that's kindness. And that's compassion. So These Shoes, it's a great book. Enemy Pie by Derek Munson. Here's a boy who wants to get rid of his enemy. I get that. I have a child who sometimes is like that. Not that they're enemies, but like, they hurt me, I'm going to get them back. But instead, this boy finds a way to become friends. And it's through a thoughtful gesture, mindfulness. So it's teaching children about forgiveness and empathy and the power of seeing beyond differences. Words and Your Heart by Kate Jane Neal. So this book does an incredible job of conveying that concept that words hold great power. And that they really do. And it touches on the fact that words can be hurtful. We want to use our words to build people up, right? Not to hurt them. And so this book is encouraging the reader, encouraging our children to use words to look after each other's hearts. That we want to protect them, not hurt them, we don't want to get them. Kindness Makes Us Strong by Sophie Beer. Now, this is a board book for young children. And it displays what I love, diverse children, all different kinds of children and colors and all of that. And they are sharing simple acts of kindness. The text is simple. Kindness is, and it's followed by an activity that most children could relate to and perhaps even feel that they could achieve that. It's a great way to spark conversation about random acts of kindness that, your children could apply in their own lives. Now, those are just 10 books. And I know that there are so many more out there, but these are a great way to start those discussions, but also look through the books that you have at home to find those examples of kindness and compassion. I think of Horton Hears a Who, and, he's holding on through rain, through storm, that he's going to protect them and look after them. There are so many beautiful stories. I think of Possum Magic and Grandma Poss, having to be empathetic because Hush just wants to be visible again. And she understands, there's that empathy there. So look through the books. And if you've been perhaps reading one of these 10, and then, that can be a great start. Let's read some other books and see, can we find examples of kindness, of compassion, of empathy, and using that to really teach our children. These books are a great way to do it, something that they can read on their own, but particularly for sparking discussion and taking perhaps those next steps on how we can be reaching out in compassion. Well, thank you so much for watching today and for being part of this Learning Life. I love getting these videos out there, and you can help us. You can do that by becoming a champion. So check that out at patreon.com or at my website, LearningThis.Life.